Hello and welcome. Welcome to Beacon Space. I'm your host, Glitchmaster98, and let's go ahead and this is a better screen. Welcome everyone. If you're new here, I'll give a quick introduction, but as I said, I'm Glitchmaster98. I'm your host and GM here at Unrestricted Lorefare. Welcome on into the world of Beacon Space. Oh, I've just noticed. Oh, this is going to bother me if I don't fix it. The lower third, the title thing, and now that I mention it, everyone's going to see it too. The very bottom of the P is not on the black space. So let's just shift that up ever so slightly. There we go. It's all fixed. It was never wrong the entire time, chat. All right. Now that that's taken care of, and it won't bother me the rest of the stream. Yeah, welcome on in. This is faction turn 6. So there have been 6 of these faction turns so far where we take the orders of the factions that participate on our Discord server. They've submitted turns to me, and I'll be running through them on our wonderful spreadsheet today. As I mentioned, Beacon Space is the lore world we find ourselves in. It's a sci-fi genre set in the near future past. The time is somewhat to be determined, but somewhere in the future, humanity has spread out into the stars, and a cataclysmic event happened in which travel was no longer possible at the same speed it was previously, and our sector is rediscovering itself over the several turns we've been playing. There are 9 different factions in the game, and they're all participating using the rule set from Stars Without Numbers faction turn, the GM little playthrough that's been adapted by wonderful community members here to the wonderful community members to be a complete multiplayer game. So I think that covers most of what's going on. Yeah, let's go ahead and jump right in. The factions can catch you up on their different things, and you can see center screen the little different faction logos. Now that we have all 9 of them are wonderfully rotating through. Yeah, I think that's enough to get started here. So let's take care of pressing business and deal with the resolution of the previous TTGI vote. So I'll stick on the screen for the moment. As a reminder, the previous chair, the Starlit Court, put forward a resolution for vote going on a Transparency Act. So they petitioned for the process of voting and record keeping to become more transparent to the membership. The 2 options factions got to choose between is leaving this reporting system as it is, where the public results are just the numbers of which supported number of factions which supported the option, or the second option was to change the reporting system to become more transparent so that which faction had voted for which option would be displayed publicly. After a tense vote, the factions have decided to leave the system as it is, and the Telesterra group has been able to take that lack of administrative change to result in adding +1 to the Telos terraforming clock, but we'll take care of that in a moment. And the vote on this was 3 factions voting to change the system to be transparent, and 6 factions voting for leaving the system as it is. The text-based results formatted a little bit nicer than just this verbal clip will be posted in the Discord channel shortly after the stream ends. So that does bring us to our first spreadsheet change of the day. So let's hop on over to that view where we can see our Beacon Space setting tracker, which you can access via a public shareable link in the Discord, and there may be a Twitch chat link. I don't remember if there's a command for that one or not. Off the top of my head anyway. So let's go ahead and move on over to our planet map, and we will find the planet of Telos somewhere in here, right here. And if we go check its terraforming clock, the results of this previous TCGI vote takes it up to 3, so let's take care of that before I forget and go the entire stream and never change that value. With that, that resolves our TTGI, or Tell Us Terror Group vote. And so we'll wrap that up. And we'll move on to our first faction action. Faction turn of this turn, turn 6. And that will be the Amelhart Institute starting us off. Coming in first this turn. They're going to be taking the buy action to purchase an asset using their commodities broker discount. Why did that text turn white? That shouldn't have happened. We want black text, except for this row, which is white. Thanks. Well, not that that's fixed. Yeah, so they're going to be taking the buy action, but let's go give them their income first. So the Amelhart Institute gains 5 faction credits, bringing their balance up to 22. And then they'll be moving right along with purchasing their counterintelligence unit. They have 3 commodities brokers. These are Amelhart Institute commodities brokers, where they have banked a discount of 11 faction credits. The maximum discount allowed is half the cost of an asset, and a counter intel unit, we can double check on this page, costs a total of 6 faction credits, so they'll be paying 3 for this asset. Let's go add it to the map, where we'll add one row right above here, so I don't have to go extend all of our autofill areas. And this is going to be a counter intel unit, though I will need to drag all of these up. And then I should drag that row up as well. And then they're going to be purchasing this on their homeworld of Ingrid. Let's find that. There it is. So counter intel unit, cost of 6. It should have an HP of 4. And then let's go charge them their 3 faction credits, bringing them down to 19. Then we need to check their Seas of the planet of Longtha ticks up as they finish their action for the turn, ticking up over to 3, which completes the Seas, finishing their goal, giving them 1 experience. We can clear both of those, and we'll ignore the sheet error that just tried to complain about me. And then on the planet map, let's go give the Amelhart Institute control of planetary governor of Longza. Right here, Amelhart Institute. Great. There should have been a wiki command. Is it beacon space? Ah, there's the wiki command. I can add a spreadsheet one after the stream, so that there's one for the future. But okay. That wraps up Amelhart's turn. I gave them their experience. Right there. Yep, they were at 1. Let's go make sure that was recorded on here. Why is the text turning white? It should... I'll have to figure that out later. Goal complete. Plus 1 XP from thieving a planet. Okay, all taken care. What conditional formatting is changing that to white? Hmm. Maybe, but the rest of them aren't changing. Okay, weird. Yeah, if it keeps acting up, I'll figure out what's causing that, and we'll try to fix it. But for the meantime, we'll move on to our second faction for this turn, which is the Starlit Court, who have gotten a reprieve from being last or near the last in turn order, and on this turn second. They're going to be taking the Wealth of Worlds goal and the repair action. So, gotta love when that happens. Okay, so let's go give them their income and continue to fight with the sheet. For an income of 3, and I won't actually set their goal because they're going to immediately complete it. So they get 3 faction credits, bringing them up to 10. They're then going to spend the credits needed to complete Wealth of Worlds, which let's double check how much cost that is. Which if we check the goals, Wealth of Worlds is 4 times your faction's wealth rating. The money is effectively lost. Their wealth rating is 2. That costs them 8, bringing them down to 2 faction credits. But they do gain 2 experience in the process, so I'll go ahead and give that to them now so we don't forget. And then they're taking the repair action, which I think is maybe the first time we've seen this action taken. Which we will... Oh, I don't have the... Let me see if I can get the rulebook open to double check that action to put it up on screen, because I don't think I have an easy way to access that on the sheet. But I think this is, yeah, as I said, the first time we've seen this, so let's go ahead and show it off the rules. Great, there it is. It starts with the numbers, and I want the faction turn, factions, faction actions, right here. Perfect. So the repair action is heal damage to an asset or faction. For 1 faction credit, an asset heals points of damage equal to the faction score and its ruling attribute. More damage can be healed on this single action, but the cost of the repair increases by 1 faction credit for each further amount of repaired. 2 faction credits for the second amount healed, 3 credits for the third, etc. If used to heal the faction regains hit points equal to the rounded average of its highest and lowest attribute ratings, and this healing cannot be hurried by additional spending. Now, I do believe repair has some custom rulings, so let's go double check that. And I don't have that open, so 1 second. Let me go open another document, because I know repair does have some custom changes, so let's make sure we're not messing them up as we run them. So the repair is it not on this spreadsheet? Oh, this is a problem. Okay. Repairs, first thing is, that's right, you could repair a homeworld's BOI differently than previously. Is that really the only instance of repair on here? That surprises me. I swear there was another ruling on repair to double check. Yeah, if we could double find that, that would be nice, because I'd like to display it on stream. And I thought it was in this document, so I'm surprised it's not. But I'm not going to go search through all of my admin docs with a screen share. That sounds like a mistake that I will manage to share something I shouldn't on stream. So, in the meantime, the rules as I have them written down is that the Starlit Court wants to repair the strike fleets that they have on planet Im. So let's go find that for this moment, which is right here, right here. And they wished to repair it twice, which according to what we just read would cost 3 faction credits, but I think we may have modified that. Okay, well, according to the rules we just read, then it's supposed to cost 3 faction credits, and I believe they currently only have 2. So I will charge them 1 for the moment, and we'll repair 4 on stream, and we'll go double check for any other repair rulings. And if we can find that one, I'll make an announcement in the Discord about the fix that's applied to this. But for the moment on stream, since all we can find is that one, we'll stick with this. I do believe there was something else that we modified with the repair action. I just can't find it, and I don't want to mess it up on stream here. So we'll find it afterwards rather than delaying it. Yeah, I do know we said you could repair both the faction HP and the asset HP, which arguably doesn't actually change the rules as written. It is just different than how the previous GM was running this. So, but I'll have to go double check. I know there were other changes discussed to repair, so let's just stick with this for now, and because that's what we can find, and we'll find the other stuff after the stream to double check. So we'll go make the appropriate notes on the faction turn tracker here. So this was spent 1 FC to repair 4 due to repair action rules clarification. I'm gonna try to type and talk at the same time. There we go. So yeah, we'll come back to them after the stream to make sure that everything is fine there. And for the moment, then we'll move on to the third faction in our turn today, which is the Assembled Commonwealth. And they will not be setting a goal, and then we'll give them their income, and they'll be taking the use asset ability turn. So let's go give them their income of 6, bringing them up to a balance of 18 faction credits. And then their first action is going to be to activate their covert shipping on Menkera Niti to move the commodities broker that's on Nueva Cuauhtémoc to Iderest. And we do have a lovely map this time, unlike it being broken last time. And in fact, the additional modifications have been made so that this map shows the correct movement ranges. For example, if you hover over a strike fleet now, of course this is the Aguamala strike fleet, it shows the appropriate range of being able to move 2 hexes. I don't have a way to display the edge case where strike fleets can move 3 hexes when you use them on a use action turn, but we're aware of that edge case. The map just doesn't have a way to display it. So with that in mind, this covert shipping asset of the Assembled Commonwealth is going to activate to move this commodities broker back to Iderest, which is entirely within the movement range. So let's go charge the appropriate cost of 1 faction credit to the Commonwealth, and then go move that asset. Assembled Commonwealth right here goes down to a balance of 17. And then we'll go to the asset tracker and find the commodities broker that's on Nueva Cuauhtémoc right here and move it to Iderest. Perfect. The next item of action for the Commonwealth is going to be to activate their harvesters. So let's find theirs right here, which is on the planet of Moss. Planet of Moss right up here. These harvesters get to roll a d6 on a 3+. The faction gains 1 faction credit. So we'll come over using Roll20 for the first time today to roll a d6 and hope for good luck. That's good luck indeed, rolling a 6 to gain +1 faction credit. Let's go record that roll. Roll 1d6 equals 6, which is greater than 3 +1 faction credit. Therefore, +1 faction credit. Yeah, that makes more sense. Okay, so this is going to become annoying. Okay, so adding +1 here gives an 18, so that repays the previous movement. Next up is going to be to activate commodities brokers for the Assembled Commonwealth, and they own 3 of them. They have a commodities broker over here on Planet In. Yeah, Planet In. They have a commodities broker right here on Menkera Niti, and they finally have one on Iderest that they just moved back from Nueva Cuauhtémoc. The map does not update in real time, so that's why it's not back on this location yet. A commodities broker rolls a d8 to gain a discount, so let's go roll 3d8, and we'll assign the discount in order of the locations I have written down in the notes, so that in the event that we can just track them per asset. So heading over here then, I'm going to sort by locations because that's going to be the easiest way to find these. So first one we're going to find for Planet Inn right here has a discount of 7. And then we have to find the one on Iderest. Right here, Commodities Bro Count, which has a discount, I believe it was 4. And the final one on Minkiraniti, right in here, has a discount of 3. I should add faction credit after each of that for consistency. Okay, yep, 473. Let's go record that on this table. 3d8 equals 743. Great. Next thing we're going to do is activate the pre-tech logistics on Iderast to purchase them a post-tech infantry, and we'll use the discount we just rolled up. So if I find the map again, the pre-tech logistics as an action can purchase a force asset for 1.5 times the normal cost. So let's go purchase that post-tech infantry. I keep trying to say industry because they look so similar. We'll add one right here for the assembled Commonwealth, and we'll purchase them their post-tech infantry. The right one, that is. That's right, this should pull up this way. So, and then I should filter in my cost. So this asset normally costs 8. 1.5 times would make it cost 12. We just rolled a total discount of 14, so that hits the maximum discount allowed, bringing it down all the way to 4. So to write that out, we'll go write it out on this page because that's for sure not easy math to follow when just saying it aloud. So the goal is going to be base cost is 8. 8 times 1.5 equals 12 minus 14 discount results minimum cost of 4. So we'll go take the 4 faction credits away from them for this purchase. Right here, bringing them down to 14. And we'll make sure that this asset is on the correct planet of Iderest. And then finally, the extended theater is going to activate that they have on Iderest to move this new post-tech industry to Mankiraniti. So we'll go charge them 1 faction credit and make that movement. And that brings them down to a total balance of 13 and resolves out their turn. Quite great. Okay. That, I think that wraps up their action. Let me just double check. Did I buy the right industry? Yeah, post-tech infantry. Yep, that's what I have written down in my notes. Okay, that looks like their turn complete then. So we'll move on to the Concord of Mutual Disdain, who is 4th this turn. And they do not need to set a goal because they already currently have one. Nope, thank you. And let's fix this again. Okay, and this one. I'm really gonna have to figure that one out. I don't know why it's changing on me. So let's go give the Concord of Mutual Disdain their 4 faction credits, bringing them up to a total of 13, not 14. And then they're going to be taking the Use Asset action ability to activate all 3 of their post-tech industries that are on Kirkaduk. So we'll find them right here. As an action, these assets roll 1d6 and have different results for a 1, a 2 to 4, or 5 to 6. So let's go roll 3d6 and we'll calculate the total faction credit outcome. Okay, so a 3, 1, 4 is going to result in a 3 results in gaining 1 faction credit, a 1 results in losing that faction credit, and then a 4 gains 1 faction credit back. So all in all, 3 industries and a total net profit of 1 faction credit for the Concord of Mutual Disdain, bringing them up to 14. And then let's go record these roll results. 3d6 resulted in 314 total plus 1 faction credit. Then the next thing they're going to do is activate their smuggler's asset on planet G to move itself and the lobbyist to 1510. So let's go find planet G right here where these smugglers and lobbyists are present. And they are going to be moving to this point of interest at 1510. So let's go take that movement and then charge them their 2 faction credits for it. Or inverse that order, charging them and then move them. Planet G, let's find the lobbyists and the smugglers. They're right here. And they're going to be moving into 1510. Great. That wraps up all of the actions they're taking this turn. They have a seize in progress, though, of planet G that ticks up to 3 out of 3. So we'll grant them their experience. Now they would gain 1 experience from completing this action, and then an additional experience because the planet G has the specific planet tag that gains an additional XP upon a successful planetary seizure, for a total of 2. And they have also provided me a renaming of the planet that I'm going to go ahead and process here. And their name is Yaki. Oh man, I even practiced this before the stream. Yaika? Yaika? One of the 2 of those, I believe, is the correct pronunciation. The language inspiration is Finnish, and I did my best to take Google Translate's version of the pronunciation. If somebody has a better pronunciation guide in chat that is able to come up with that, I will appreciate that. So that will take care of that for them, and we'll get rid of this. That awards them their XP. We need to make them the actual planetary government. Let's do that. And that wraps up Concord of Mutual Disdain's turn, and I have been politely reminded that I need to advance Commonwealth's C's to 2 out of 3, so we will do that now. So that wraps up Commonwealth's, or fixes Commonwealth's turn, as I missed that action, and takes care of Concord and Mutual Disdain. So we'll move on to the 5th faction in our turn, which is Larkspur Combine this month, who are going to continue to take the goal of inside enemy territory, as they are quite fond of doing. And then we will give them their income and take their action of use asset ability. So that brings their balance up to 24 faction credits. Our factions are getting rich again. And then we'll go take care of a few actions to activate for them. So they do have a post-tech industry that they own on the planet of Moss, right here, which, as we've learned, rolls a 1d6. So let's go roll their 1d6 and see if they can earn some money. They rolled a 5, gaining them plus 2 faction credits. So let's find Larkspur Combine and give them their 2 faction credits, bringing them up to 26, and then go record the result. 1d6 equals 5. Result plus 2 FC. And then they're going to be moving the Seductrix from Carcaduke to Nueva Cuauhtémoc, and a surveyor on Heliositis to Icaros. So let's go track both of those movements. So these two Seductrix assets right here are going to activate for free to move over to Nueva Cuauhtémoc, and then let's find this surveyor. Is going to move, I believe, to Icaros, which it's covering it up, but it does be within the range. Let me see if I can. Not going to be able to get it, but this asset is within range of that planet, so it is entirely fine. So we'll go take care of those movements, and all of those movements are free. They do not cost any money, which is lovely. So, that's right, you're going to complain because you no longer exist. There we are. Okay, and then they're currently on Carcaduke. Let's find the... Here they are. They're stealthed, of course, and they'll move to Nueva Cuauhtémoc. And the surveyors are moving to Icaros. That completes the Inside Enemy Territory goal, granting a 2 experience to the Larkspur Combine, bringing them up to 6. That wraps up their turn. And yeah, that wraps up Larkspur Combine. Just wanted to double check my notes. Great. Okay. In the faction turn section, then we'll head back over and find the next faction going this month, which is the Children of the Vein, who are 6th this turn. And they are setting the goal of planetary seizure. And, yep, there we go. And then they are gaining their income of 6 faction credits. Let's go give that to them, bringing them up to a very healthy 33 faction credits. But since they are taking the buy action this turn, they will be making an expenditure of quite a few of those. So let's go make their purchase of a grav tank formation. And we drag that up, and then this is Children of the Vein, which costs them a very expensive 25 faction credits. Quite expensive, if I do say so. Okay, good. That is working as intended. And then we want them to be on... They are purchased on the planet of Heliositis, which is very fine. Let's fix that health value, and then go take care of setting... Yeah, let's go take care of the cost, bringing them down to 8 faction credits. There we go. And then the next thing they're going to do is take their free action to activate the extended theater on Moss that they own. Right here. To move the pre-tech infantry that is present on this location that only has 6 HP, to move that back to Tellus at the cost of 1 faction credit. So let's charge that faction credit, bringing them down to 7, and then go move that asset off of Moss. Right over here, finding this one. This is the asset going back to Tellus. Quite nice. And then the final thing they're going to do is take a free action to explore a ruin, as there is currently a ruin on Tellus that can be explored. They are doing so with an additional cost of 0 faction credit, so they will just roll a 1d10 flat. So let's make that roll for them right over here. And oop, they have rolled a 1. I feel like they rolled very poorly on this roll last turn too. That is a failure on the exploration. What did they roll? They rolled a 3 last turn. Oh, quite unfortunate. So, d10 equals 1, failure, no gain to ruin clock. But even if there is disappointment in the exploration of this ruin, they have completed the goal that they set to seize planet, as the planet of Tellus ticks up to 3 out of 3, guaranteeing them 1 experience, and then over here, we will go grant them the appropriate ownership to Children of the Vein here, giving them access to the very nice mech tech. And we can get rid of that note. And that wraps up Children of the Vein's turn. Oh, that's right. Thank you for the reminder. They do have Fanatical, which does trigger on this as well. That's right. It's any D10. They've re-rolled into an 8, which is a success. Thank you for that reminder. That is a +1 success. Re-rolled into 8 +1, gain to ruin block. Thank you for that. There are always those weird interactions that slip by. So now we will go make the appropriate adjustment here, bringing this up to 5 out of 8, and they'll get a lore blurb about what they've explored from me within a couple of days after the turn. So that takes care of that. Thank you for the reminder on their Fanatical in chat. And yeah. With that, though, that does wrap up their turn officially for real this time. And we'll move on to the 7th faction this turn, which is the Tohora Fai. And they are going to be joining the parade of seizing a planet and buying an asset. Or setting the goal of seize planet, excuse me. So we will go give them their 4 faction credits and bringing them up to a balance of 17. And then they are going to be purchasing a strike fleet. So let's go make that purchase, and then we will take care of a strike fleet for the Tohora Fai. And that's going to cost them 12 faction credits, which is a very reasonable amount. And then it is being bought on the planet J, which we can verify right up here. They do, in fact, have a base of influence on, so they are able to make this purchase. That's taken care of. Let's go subtract 12 faction credits from them, giving them a total of 5 left. And their Seize the Planet J ticked up to 3 out of 3, resulting in a gain of 1 XP. So let's go record that they are the new planetary governor here, Tohora Fai. And they still retain the option to rename this planet, and they had requested that they wait until the lore stream to be able to make a more appropriate lore announcement with it, and I have given them, told them that's totally fine. So please do be expecting a rename of the planet and the system, as they're the first planet to seize this within the system. So I guess a reminder to Concord and Ritual Disdain if they'd like to rename system, what is that, 59 to something else, they're welcome to do so as well. But Tohora Fai will be renaming this planet later this month. You can tune in about 2 weeks' time for that. So that takes care of the assets they purchased. They've gained their experience. We've taken care of the seas. That wraps up Tohora Fai, which relatively quick turn, but not much. Not much to do on the spreadsheet, even though it is quite very exciting for them. That brings us on to our 8th faction this turn, which is the Agomala Syndicate, who are going to be spending some experience points at the start of their turn to increase their wealth score from 2 to 3, which costs them 4 experience. So let's go find Agomala Syndicate's wealth score. It goes up to 3 at the cost of all 4 of their experience. This does trigger an income increase for them that does impact this turn, because stat increases take effect before income is given, rewarding a total of 5 faction credits to Agomala Syndicate this turn. They're taking the exploration action, but first they're going to be moving a strike fleet from Gome, that is present right here, to this point of interest in 307, which costs them a total of 2 faction credits. So out of the 5 they just gained, they now have 3, and the movement will take place for that for that strike fleet. Let me find it right here. Yep, that's the right one, and it's moving into 1307. They're then going to take their action with this strike fleet to explore, where they'll be rolling a d10 plus the stat of the asset, which is force, which they have a 4 in, which we can verify right here. And the difficulty of this roll is 10, as there's 1 hex away, so difficulty 10. So let's go roll a 1d10 if I can type the correct command out. Plus 4, they've rolled a total of a 13, which is greater than a 10, so that is a success on this roll. Let's go record that on the correct tab. So they don't need to succeed at cost. Let me put a strike through that part of the turn order request. And then rolled 9 plus 4 equals 13, which is greater than 10, success. So now we get to take the rules for planet creation, and the first thing to do there is to roll a d6 to figure out how many planets exist in this system now. So we'll roll our d6, giving us a 1. The dice do take and give. This means only 1 planet in the system, which has resulted in a planet that is immiscible, variable cold, with a breathable mix, and tens of millions of population. There is still no ruin on this planet. We are still in search of a natural ruin, everyone, in the world. I will admit, I don't know how many planets I've rolled. I'm sure, in fact, I could find out by checking the alphabet, because I wrote it down, and the next planet, everyone, is Planet Q, so I don't have to say the alphabet out on stream to manage to figure out the correct planet's name. But that takes care of that. So we'll find 1307, which is where they're at, which is now replaced with Planet Q, and gains the Mechanics Town of wealth assets owned by this planetary governor. Deal 1 additional damage. It has a population, tens of millions. Yes, that's fine. This is TL2 with atmospheres, breathable mix, a variable cold, and immiscible biosphere. With the alien ruins and revanchists planet tags. Quite nice. So let's go update the location of this asset so that it is correct on the map and the map doesn't go haywire. And then I'll bring the Roll20 tab back on so the people, if you didn't get a good look at the roll, are able to. And the ruined roll is a 9, which is unfortunately not a 20. Which is what is needed to gain a planetary ruin. If we happen to run out of the alphabet, we will start over and do the same thing Excel does, or Google Sheets in this case, and we will have planet AA as the next planet, and then AV and AC. So it should be fine in that regard. I considered being very tricky and like going to the Greek alphabet, and we'd have planet Alpha, Beta, but I decided I would get confused with that. Not to mention how confusing it may be to read and type. So I will stick with AA if we hit the end of the alphabet. Let's double check that we don't have anything else to do for the Argomal Syndicate. Let's go give them their 2 experience for completing the successful exploration of a hex. And that wraps up their turn, which we thank them very much for submitting. And that leads us, last but definitely not least, to the faction of Ascent, who is 9th. They're really standing up to their nameplace of being a very fast faction. They made a specific request that I provide a celebratory sound effect as they spend their 9 experience to increase their cunning from 4 to 5. So, do 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 is their celebratory sound effect. Hopefully, it translates well over stream. And then we will go take care of that, bringing their cunning up to 5. It does not impact their income, so they still only gain 4 this turn, bringing them up to a total of 15 faction credits. They too are taking the exploration action and goal, much like our previous faction. But before they do so, we're going to start by exploring the Tellus Ruin. So we'll go roll a d10 for them on that roll. Where they have rolled a 10, man, I think they are the luckiest faction for exploring this ruin, as a 9+ on a ruin roll gives them a critical success, gaining +2 to the Tellus clock. So let's go find that. It's going to be just shy of completing, sitting at 7 of 8. So somebody next turn, it seems like, will get the honor of clearing that. But perhaps I've jinxed it now and it won't happen. So Riz rolled d10 equals 10 critical success +2 ruin clock. And they as well will get a lore blurb from me. Then they're going to be moving the smugglers that are present on the tile here of 1406 to the point of interest at 1505. They're going to move both the tripwire cell and the smuggler's asset for a total cost of 2 faction credits. So let's go charge them for that movement, bringing them down to a balance of 13. And we'll find their assets right here that are currently on planet P, and they are moving out to 1505. There we are. That movement is taken care of. The smuggler's asset is going to take its exploration action first. As a cunning asset, the ascent will be rolling 1d10 +5, seeing the impacts of their stat change right away. And the difficulty for this, I believe, is going to just be a difficulty of 10, as they're 1 hex away from a currently explored hex. So 1d10 here +5 for their roll. They're trying to roll greater than 10. Oh, the dice do take and give. They have rolled a 6 on this roll. But that's all right, as this asset, instead of taking damage, will just accept the failure. So roll 1d10 +5 equals 1 + 5 equals 6. Failure. And the tripwire cells will now take the exact same exploration roll, also being a cunning asset. A 1d10 +5 will be the roll that it makes to try to explore, where they have rolled 1 better for a total of 7, which unfortunately is still not 10. So in this case, they will choose to fail at a cost, so they can take 1d4 damage to this asset, which they have chosen to do, taking a total of 3 damage to the tripwire cells. So let's go record that damage to the tripwire cells. Right here has an HP of 8 that is now down at 5. And let's go record this as a roll. 1d10 plus 5 equals 2 + 5, which is 7. Failure, succeed at cost. 1d4 damage equals 3. So that still means we do get to make a sector today, which is obviously much more enjoyable than not. So we'll roll a d6, resulting in a 4, which gives us 2 planets in this sector. So let's roll up our first planet, which still does not have a ruin. Man, these d20s have been hard to find on ruin rolls. So we'll go add planet R into the planet map here. And this is in 1505. So right here, planet R, and then we need to add a row below to add a second planet into the system. LXIV, not IC. That's not helpful. Well, so that's going to be planet S. Let me just make sure I keep my tracking correct. So this is now planet S. And let's take care of putting planet R into the sheet, and then I'll roll up planet S, type it on over, and then display the results on stream at that point, just to speed things up a little bit. So the mechanics tag here is starship assets built on this world cost 1 faction credit less. with a failed colony population and a tech level of 2. I wonder if the colony failed resulted in leaving some starship parts around, which is why starships are cheaper. Quite an interesting conundrum there. There's a thick atmosphere with another variable called planet and another immiscible biosphere with a post-scarcity and cyber-communist tags. Well, that's quite an interesting combination there. Planet S, as I said, I'll put this roll on the stream in just a moment, results in a mechanics tag where tactic assets cost 1 less. Well, this is apparently a system that makes it cheaper to build assets in. Quite interesting. Resulting in another failed colony that is also TL2. However, this planet has a breathable mixed atmosphere with a cold temperature and a miscible biosphere, along with the tags of hatred and fallen hegemon. And I do hate to disappoint everyone as I bring my Roll20 tab back over here. The ruin roll was unfortunately a 19, which is not a 20, so there's still no naturally found ruin yet, which is quite disappointing, all things considered. I was hoping to finally find one, as it would be quite fun to have a natural one to have factions be able to explore. But alas, we will have to wait for future exploration for that to happen. Planet R was the first planet found by Ascent, so we will move both of these assets onto Planet R, as that is the way locations resolve when moving into unexplored hexes. You always result on the first planet rolled, even if more than one is present. And then they will go gain their 2 experience, bringing them up. I should have spent that 9 experience earlier, excuse me, to increase their stats. So from 0, they go to 2. If I have messed up my experience math somewhere, I'm sure I will be corrected, but I know they didn't have 18 experience at the start of this term. So let's take care of double checking their turn. I believe that is everything they are supposed to do, which completes their goal. Great. That does take care of everything for the Ascent's turn, which finishes up our faction turns, but doesn't end our string quite yet. We have a few more sections to go through. So the first thing of note is, just like on faction turn 3, we're now 3 faction turns later of faction turn 6, so the clock for Tellus, naturally increases by 1 this turn as the Tellus Terra group slowly works away at terraforming the planet, bringing the terraforming clock's progress up to 4 of 12. There is an exciting announcement over this change that has a mechanical impact of the planet of Tellus. So I'm going to go ahead and make the mechanical announcement now and save the fictional description for the lore stream in 2 weeks to be a segment on our Beacon Space TV broadcast. But mechanically, the planet of Tellus is slowly being improved by the changes that the Terra group is being able to make due to it. And the planet is now capable of producing an additional income for the planetary governor, which, given the planet was just seized this turn, comes into effect immediately next turn. That as planetary governor, Children of the Vein will now gain an additional faction credit per turn during their income. So I'm going to go ahead and record this here. So it's +1 faction credit per turn. Now, I am going to need to find a way to have the sheet not complain about this, and hopefully get my automation to work, much like this addition is automatically being added into the main sheet. For the moment, it does not. So the income display on this page is inaccurate for Children of the Vein, or it should be inaccurate. Yes, it is, because it was 6 this turn, and it should increase to 7 for next turn. I'm going to try to solve that display issue over the next month in a test sheet before making the modification onto this sheet live. I knew that making this sort of special planet would cause these sheet issues that we'd have to deal with. So in the event that that doesn't get resolved, we'll just have to manually account for this faction credit income, which I'm sure Children of the Vein will remind me to do so with their turn order. So that'll all be taken care of for next turn. That immediately comes into effect for turn 7. And that takes care of at least the mechanical changes. As I said, I'll put together a lore announcement along with co-host Calbrick for what these changes mean about the planet as a whole and what the Terra Group's progress has been able to do. So that takes care of that. Next up then is we have a new TTGI option presented by the new chair, which coincidentally is Children of the Vein for this month. No pre-planning was made. The TTGI chairs are entirely random rolls, so it is purely coincidence. And they have decided to put forward the option for the terraforming decision. Let me go ahead and switch back over to the screen as I don't think I need the spreadsheet anymore for the rest of the stream. So they are putting forward the terraforming decision again that has been up previously, where the Tellus Terra group is asking for the members of the board to make a decision influencing the final outcome of the Planet of Tellus's planet tags. The 4 options that are going to be going up for vote are Seagoing Cities, Trade Hub, Altered Humanity, and Psionics Academy, which is more bleed-related academy, but we're sticking with the name from the Stars of the Numbers book for the vote option so that it's more clear what the vote means. And as we said, this vote is odd in that it has more than 2 binary options. So any option needs to get greater than 50% support to be selected. And if no option gets 50% support, the option with the lowest amount of support will be dropped, and a future chair will have the option to put this proposal forward again. If the clock for the terrorist group completes before this decision has been resolved, then that will be dealt with at the appropriate time. Again, this information will go up in the Discord channel so that there's a text version of it and people can read it to review it when submitting their orders for next turn. I think then I only have one more announcement, which I mentioned I wasn't going to need my spreadsheet display, but in fact I actually am going to need to display a different document, which you may have seen pop up once or twice as I was bouncing around in my Chrome tabs to begin with. We are announcing this map modification changes, which let me see if I can zoom in a way that's not weirdly off-center. Okay, I don't know why it's weirdly off-center, but it's off-center for me, so we'll just have to deal with it, I guess. These map modifications is going to be a way for factions to recommend changes to the map. You may have noticed for the sectors that have been created, there are no special sector objects such as gas giants or gas mines or moons or moon bases or asteroid fields. But I want to give people the option to introduce those rather than just sort of rolling them up randomly in the background and having them sort of just appear in the space. I want people to be able to help influence what they want to be present. Again, part of the goal for this was an idea around exploration, and so in fiction, this can be written as teams of explorers actually charting out the sectors in better detail. The fundamental aspect of this revolves around the idea of a constellation, which is going to be a way of connecting different regions of space. So if we take a look at our map, constellations will be built up of hexes that contain planets and hexes that don't contain planets. There are some rules here about how a constellation has to be constructed and the different qualifications it needs to meet. If and a couple edge cases about if 2 factions are trying to claim the same hex in their constellation, how we resolve out that conflict. These constellations then convey a bonus to changes on worlds or hexes inside of them for at a specific rate. And then additionally, changes can be made to the map through these options below, where everything in a specific section has the same difficulty. So easy things to change have difficulty 8, with the exception of the system name and planet name. So this is like establishing a gas mine, refueling stations, discovering moons, discovering asteroid belts. When you're discovering a moon or an asteroid belt, you can establish that the system has 0 as a very specific request. So you can either say, you know, if I succeed at this, I want to reveal 1d3 asteroid belts, or I want to assert that this hex has 0 asteroid belts and cement that as a fact so nobody else can sort of come back and reveal asteroid belts later. You've already searched for them. If a moon exists, you can, establish a moon base or research bases on different objects in the hexes. Modifying planets is a little bit harder, difficulty 11, and this involves things like modifying the population or modifying the tech limit with a maximum of TL4+, where you can only shift the current value of a planet by ±1 per turn or per attempt. Gather modification points is the combination of both atmosphere and temperature, where you can, for whatever you roll over the difficulty, for every 2 points over the difficulty, you gain a modification point +1 at difficulty 11, and you can then use those modification points to shift the atmosphere or the temperature along the scale in either direction. So you could take variable cold up to down to cold or up to temperate, for example, and then same thing for the atmosphere. This can also be how you establish an asteroid base, as those are a little bit harder to do. Then difficult things to change in hexes involve, like establishing a deep space station, modifying a planet tag, though there is a limit that I will be putting together a footnote of things that are possible. For example, like, you can't change a desert city to an ocean city with this, or to an ocean planet, like a desert world to a ocean world with this. That's not going to be something that's possible, but at least adding or removing some tags will be, maybe the planet is warm and you want to assert that it is specifically a desert world, that sort of thing would be okay. So this is more of a case by case basis, but it's not, you're not allowed to change that desert world into an ocean world, which I think is sort of the goal of this limitation, because that would be slightly strange to accomplish with just one roll. I'd be interested in, if you want to make that sort of change, building it as a longer project with an individual faction. So if something like that does occur, feel free to reach out. I don't want to say just hard no. It's just making that sort of big change is a little bit harder than the rules as written here. And then finally, you can also adapt the biosphere along some specific changes due to the way these are described. Any specific FAQs that come up regarding this will be added to this document, and it has been shared publicly in Met Council. If it hasn't been posted in a Faction Turn Updates channel, it will get posted there after this stream, and I will also add it to the pinned post in that channel that links to all of the sort of important documentation. Eventually, these rules will just get folded into the big rules document, but since they're new and they're going to just take effect next turn, it's probably nice that they have their own individual link for the time being. So that takes care of, I think, every announcement I have to make. I don't know if there's a mod around that can confirm for me that I haven't missed anything. If not, though, I don't think I've missed anything. If I have, any updates or announcements will be in the Discord afterwards. I do know we have to double check the rules on repair, and so I will be getting in contact with Starlit Court, along with anybody else who's able to find a discussion about changing that rule, or we may have said we did, can get in contact with me, so we can figure out that, and so the resolution of that will be placed into the updates channel as well. Switches, if you want to switch your factions, that will occur at what will it be, in 2 days? So midnight Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday the 9th, so end of day Monday. So make sure you get your changes in on the faction turn, or in the Discord server, to the bot by then, as you will be getting faction switches, and shortly after that will be sent out new turn orders to current faction reps. Updates is the next let's see, the next time I believe we'll be streaming for Beacon Space here will be on the 20th of March, where we'll be doing our monthly lore stream. I'll be joined by our host, Kelbrick, as we go over the lore that is presented by the different factions and some lore pieces created by the mod team this time around with regarding Tellus and TTGI, which would be quite fun. Deadlines for that, get your submissions in by the 18th, if possible. Thank you very much. And then Faction Turn 7 will take place on April 3rd. Deadlines associated with trade deadlines and turn deadlines are already in the channel for the faction representatives, and I will try to make sure it gets a public calendar of at least the streams posted into the announcements channel as well. I'd like to thank everyone who tuned out for the stream today. I hope you enjoyed it and some of the associated stream updates. As well, you may have noticed a few bonus streams recently. Played Betrayal Path to the Hill earlier this week with a few friends from previous friends on the server, and then I did a Monster Train stream on Thursday. We'll probably be returning to Monster Train tomorrow as we make a push to get this channel to qualify for affiliate, just for having the um, emote slots and all of that for anyone who wishes to contribute to the associated administrative costs of hosting the website, getting the map up and running on our own local hardware now, and all of that. Once that happens, I'll make sure to make a clear outline of where any of the money that comes in from those goes, so that people are aware of where their support is helping out the moderation team in associated costs that we've just taken care of so far. So thanks everyone for tuning out this month. I hope you enjoyed your faction turn stream. It was really fun to see all the different factions orders submitted, and I can't wait to see the lore that comes out of this turn in just a few weeks. So I will leave you with some nice sci-fi music as we exit here. I do think I've quite enjoyed finding this individual's music from different sci-fi royalty-free tracks. So thanks everyone for tuning out and enjoying the stream, and I will leave you with that. Maybe if the music will start playing for me. Hey, music. Well, maybe we just don't have exit music today, but thanks everyone for tuning out, and we'll get ready to end the stream here shortly.